The internet can take a lie and run so far with it.
No, don't say that.
And I think the work that Colleen has done for the internet.
The work Colleen has done for the internet is just such a bizarre. Ooh, I would have just sat there and made it uncomfortable. What has she done for the internet? Exploited children for the internet. Is it the gym or is it protein powder? Honey, the drapes don't match the curtains. Oh, hi friends, it's my face again. My name is Swoop and welcome to the Suspool, a place where everything and everyone is sus, including us. Come on in, the water's fine. This is a place where we reach to the deepest corners of the internet to dip our toes in the darkest of pools and pull out the weirdest, shadiest, most sus stories and talk shit. I mean, analyze it intellectually, of course. I don't really know, okay? This is new. We're gonna figure it out together. So welcome to the very first video on my brand new second channel. If you're coming from my main channel, Swoop, thank you so much for being here. It means so much. I know some of you are gonna ask the question, Swoop, why start a second channel? So as most of you know, I make documentary deep dives on my main channel and they take a long ass time to produce. Trust me, I know, and I hear y'all being like, why is it taking you so long to make these? It's because we scrub every crevice known to man to dig as deep as possible into those stories, okay? John Silvestri, I'm looking at you. And I work really hard to try to deliver a pristine, high level of production quality for all of you to enjoy. Y'all know I'm a thorough bitch, which is why those take so long and why I am perpetually afraid of working so long on a story that by the time I post, people might be like over the topic. It's kind of like, bitch, what if you're late to the shit show and everyone done flushed the toilet and moved on, okay? That's what goes on in my brain all of the time. And with that, it also means that I don't get to cover as many stories as I'd like or post as often as I like, which kind of sucks because I want to hang out with you more. Y'all are fun. So boom, second channel. Sounded like a good idea at the time. We'll see if I survive this. Other questions. Do I have the exact format nailed down? No. Do I know exactly what I'm doing here? No. Do I have confidence this isn't going to be a complete train wreck? We're gonna do this together. We're gonna do real-time investigations, updates on stories I cover on my main channel, and also get into some lesser known but truly bizarre topics that I just want to talk about. And yes, I will still be posting docs on my main channel at the quality that you're used to. So it's like same in-depth there, less editing, more casual here. Sound good? Great. So to start us off, I could think of no greater suspect, no one more perfect to take the first dip in the cesspool than Miss Colleen Ballinger herself. So what has been happening in the Colleen Ballinger universe since I released part 4 of my series back in September, and what is the status on an alleged part 5? I've heard y'all talking, okay? First, I'm gonna start by talking about the one thing that aged like milk literally days before part 4 came out, and that was me saying Jojo Siwa hadn't spoken publicly about Colleen Ballinger. Yeah. Turns out Jojo had a lot to say in an interview with Howie Mandel on his Howie Mandel Does Stuff podcast on September 13th. It was literally, she came out with that interview and I was like, we have already finished most of our production. I can't do anything about it. So here we are. Now, for those of you who don't know who she is, Jojo Siwa is an entertainer, dancer, singer, YouTuber, etc. She's 20 years old as of right now. So she got started on Dance Moms, which is just kind of like a cesspool of atrocities, like if I ever saw one. Let me know in the comments if you want a full Swoop documentary on that. I have been thinking about it. Oh my gosh. Whoo, honey, there's like so much going on there. But Jojo Siwa is a bona fide child star, now international superstar, and she appears on TV shows like So You Think You Can Dance. She's got a new show out. I haven't seen it, but it's out. It exists. And as a child, she started collaborating with YouTubers like Colleen Ballinger, Joshua David Evans, Trisha Paytas, Shane Dawson, James Charles, many of whom she is still close with, including Colleen. Dude, if you think about that list of people, can you imagine just like literally growing up in the spotlight and then kind of growing up with those people as your mentors and examples? And wow, that's a lot of shit. So when Jojo appeared on the Howie show, Howie decided to just like rip off that band-aid entirely and started the segment by asking if Jojo was still friends with Colleen. And Jojo, well, you know, she had answers. How Jojo answered kind of shook the internet like so suddenly that it was covered by big YouTubers like Moist Critical. Like, you know, when Moisty gets involved, you done something. So I thought, let's just watch a few clips. I'm going to react, give you a few thoughts of it, and then we're going to keep going with some more Colleen updates.
Speaking of friends, are you, and if I'm wrong, are you friends with Colleen Ballinger still?
Yeah, I
would imagine if you're friends with her, you kind of met her when you were young.
I was 12 when I met her.
And
she's always been nothing but kind to me. Her family, nothing but kind to me. This is the first time that I've talked about this, so I just want to make sure I say my exact piece that I want to say.
I really want to know if Jojo knew in advance. I think generally with an interview like this and someone with as high of a public profile as Jojo, that they probably would have had a list of questions and a list of things that are off limits. I did not have that with my interview with Joshua. He was very much like, ask me anything. And I was like, that's the only way I'm going to do an interview with you, is if nothing is off limits. And so I'm curious if her PR team knew that this was coming.
The internet can take a lie and run so far with it, so far that it's to the point where you just can't do anything about it.
Okay, I have to pause here. Jojo not only defended Colleen, she says that the allegations levied against her are based on lies, which is weird. It's weird because, as a reminder, the allegations relate to Colleen Ballinger meeting underage fans and allegedly grooming them. So for Jojo to follow all of that up by saying, and I quote, "I've known Colleen since I was 12. She's always been nothing but kind to me," is wild, dude. It's the contradiction for me. Honey, the drapes don't match the curtains. I'm trying to be a little soft here because I know Jojo is still quite young and she, again, grew up in the entertainment industry. That is an experience that you do not know what that does to you psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and how you interact and develop. You don't understand that unless you have lived it. It's just one of those things. So I know that Jojo, just by the nature of the entertainment industry, I know that she has been through some shit. It's kind of impossible not to be. But also, I just, when I'm listening to her just kind of like song and dance around saying anything of any kind of specific nature or detail, it just makes me wonder, well, then why are you talking about it? And then to just refer to it as lies, putting this blanket word of lies over everything, to me is very irresponsible. There have been a number of victims who came forward to share their experiences very bravely. They didn't have to do that, but they did. A lot of them presented quite a lot of evidence. Adam, being a kind of a main person that I'm referencing there, and to just put a blanket term of calling it lies over there just because it's not what you think your experience is
I know Colleen very, very, very well.
Jojo's experience is her own experience. It does not make it a blanket thing that applies to everybody else in their own experiences.
And I think the work that Colleen has done for the internet.
I'm sorry. The work Colleen has done for the internet is just such a bizarre. What has she done for the internet? She has put on a Netflix show that just completely made a whole mockery of the fibromyalgia, chronic illness. Hi, me being someone who has that. So that's one thing she's done for the internet. She's also exploited children for the internet.
Yes.
So on Dance Moms, Tadra Hall had a party and invited the Dance Moms cast, and 4 of the girls went, and they discluded myself and Nia, who is another girl on the show.
Is that shade to Todrick? She said discluded. Were they not invited? Were they disinvited intentionally? I'm so curious about what the story is there.
Then Colleen, as Miranda, surprised the girls, and me and Nia were devastated because we were massive fans and we loved Colleen and we loved Miranda. And then when the episode came out, Colleen saw how upset me and Nia were. And she reached out to Holly and was like, I would love to make this up to you guys. She was like, I was wondering where Jojo and Nia were. Please, whatever you guys want. I just want to make the kids happy. I just want Jojo and Nia to not be sad anymore. And so we ended up going to dinner with Colleen, and it was me and my mom and Nia and Holly.
Is that odd to anyone else? JoJo's laying that foundation that she was a big fan. So we've already established multiple instances of a power dynamic, right? And again, power dynamics don't have to be inherently abusive. It's just something that we need to note exists. And so we know that there's a power dynamic of Colleen being significantly older than 12-year-old JoJo. And we also know that JoJo was a huge fan of Colleen. So that also creates another power dynamic. And then we hear that Colleen found out, that they were upset, that these children were upset. And so she's like, whatever you want, I'll do it. Like, it's just this weird kind of pandering thing. Did Colleen look at JoJo at that time and think, I need to associate with this child because it's going to boost my career?
How is it for you now being her friend and reading some of what we read? Do you think it's all a lie? Do you think it's...
So we glossed over how did you go from idolizing Colleen and Miranda? How did you go from idolizing to being friends? And then having this whole relationship that was just glossed over. I want to just ask so many questions.
There have been a lot of people on the internet who have gotten hit with this cancellation.
When people call these types of things a cancellation, we are talking about grooming. We are talking about exploiting children. We are talking about allegedly, I still have to say that, sending illicit photographs to underage children. This isn't a cancellation. This is accountability. There is a difference there. This is accountability for some pretty up shit. Right?
And I look at it and I see that this is a sensitive subject. Somebody who is affected by any sort of anything having to do with adults, and I mean, for real grooming it's a very sensitive thing.
What? Okay, she's doing that thing again where she's extremely vague, stopping all of her sentences and not saying anything. Yes, we know it's sensitive. Those it affected, and I don't even know if she's talking about Colleen as being affected or if she's talking about the victims as being affected, and then says real grooming. So I think by making that distinction, what I'm gathering, but again, I don't want to make too many assumptions here because I haven't talked to JoJo. By separating real grooming makes it sound like she's implying what people like Adam have come forward to talk about is not real grooming. And I think that might be what JoJo is dancing around. And again, because she's just so vague with her descriptors here, it's almost would have been better to just not speak on the subject.
I mean, for real grooming it's a very sensitive thing.
You must have really young people reaching out to you now.
I wish when she paused there and then her sentence just trailed off, I wish Howie had not said anything. As an interviewer in that situation, I would have chosen to just stay silent. Sometimes it's better to just let the awkward, uncomfortable silence exist because they're going to feel the need to fill that gap with more words. This was similar things that happened in my interview with John. I would have just sat there and made it uncomfortable just to hear where she was going.
Like, I know, like, her daughter's 9.
Yeah.
If she could right now and she
write
watches
to you and talk to you, like
she would,
yeah.
and she would love to be your friend and love to be online.
The difference with Colleen and I is we were once I became her friend and she became my friend and she became somebody that I looked up to. She became somebody that I idolized. She became somebody that I was like, wow, this person is a hard worker.
That was such a loaded statement. I think this just could be an age and an experience thing that JoJo doesn't see at all yet. For her to say, well, what's different, her and Colleen's relationship is different because, they are friends. But it's like, you were 12, 13, 14, 15. You're friends with a significantly older person. And that's not That's not raising a red flag. We're going to have a lot of questions. What did that friendship look like? Was your mother always there? Were you alone at times? Like, what are the details of that dynamic? That's what I would want to ask Jojo here. And then she follows up saying we're friends with I idolized her. So again, we're getting back to that power dynamic, because how much of it was a friendship if you idolized her? Because if you idolize someone, they're like, you look up to them, you idolize them, that's more of a fan relationship, right? That gets into very gray, fuzzy territory if that is a friendship or if it's a fanship. I don't even know if that's a word, but we're going to use it.
She's a genius. She's a very strong YouTuber, and I idolize that, you know? And so throughout our friendship, we've probably filmed 100 videos together.
Is it a friendship or is it a fanship? Is it a friendship or is it a working collaborative relationship?
I think the problem is the internet was able to capitalize off of her cancellation. And
no, don't say that. Jojo, the internet, all the internet, I guess. The internet saw this grown woman exploiting vulnerable children and exposing them to very sexualized content. The internet had a problem with that because the internet should have a problem with that. It's not capitalizing on a cancellation. It is calling for accountability of very dangerous behavior. There's a reason why my main channel tagline is it's not drama, it's dangerous. It's not capitalizing it. It's calling it out because we need to do better, right? It's interesting that Jojo would say that instead of saying, well, Colleen was capitalizing on exploiting children. It's always interesting to me when people take that opinion of it's like if it's them or their friend or something being canceled, and they're like, oh, you're just trying to capitalize on it. It's like, or maybe we just care. Maybe we just care. The thing is, I have a difficult time personally taking a hardline stance against Jojo Siwa. Like, as I made clear in part 3 of my series, I'm not thrilled with the idea of calling someone a victim who does not consider themselves a victim. So in this case, Jojo, it doesn't seem like she considers herself to be a victim of Colleen in any way. And, you know, let's just take like a hypothetical example here and say that someone is being abused by another person, right? And there are a lot of instances where the victim develops a trauma bond to their abuser. And yes, John, just a reminder, that is the correct use of that phrase, trauma bond. But sometimes if there is a bond happening, the victim might not be able to see through the abuse enough to know that they are a victim. This happens quite a lot. And someone might have to step in for their own protection, right? So it's very nuanced and tricky, and I'm trying to be careful about just labeling Jojo a victim if she doesn't believe that. It's just a very nuanced thing. But I do want to point out, with all of that in mind, objectively speaking, a lot of much older canceled YouTubers sure seem to freaking like to surround themselves with Jojo when they are going through a controversy. Like, you can see it in a lot of Jojo's collaborations with Shane Dawson, or her recent collabs with my personal favorite, James Charles, or Sister Suspool, as I like to call him. And you see it with her sort of acting as a mouthpiece for Colleen Ballinger now. It's just an interesting trend to me that so many adults have so much to say about Jojo Siwa, and Jojo Siwa has nothing but kind things to say about each of them. Now, does that mean her relationship was healthy and her mom was around and she doesn't feel, any type of negative impact? I certainly hope so. I don't want to think that, it was a terrible situation for her. That would be awful. But when I think about all these dynamics, the funny thing is I don't entirely see what Jojo Siwa gets out of these collaborations. Like, she was a child star, right? And didn't really need any of these people, but each of these people definitely gained something when hitching their horse to the Jojo stable. Yeah, horse euphemism. I don't know where that came from. We're just going to run with it. Now, I do hope that all of that being said, that Jojo can one day open her eyes and realize that not only are the allegations against Colleen from other people that don't involve her not rooted in lies, but that many of those allegations are things she could say about Colleen and other adults in her world. For instance, Jojo was in the group chats with other underage fans and a much older Colleen Ballinger. Like, adults were definitely inappropriate, in my opinion, around JoJo and in content with her for years. And I think JoJo was in relatively close contact in these group chats with many of the people speaking out against Colleen, and no doubt, I would imagine, saw much of what had been screenshotted and alleged. So to say that these are all based on lies or lies, like that's a lie. It's just that there's too much evidence that has been shown time and time again by a number of individuals. And again, I do hope that at some point JoJo can see that. As someone who I've shared in my documentaries and stuff that I was groomed, and it took me a very long time, years for me to understand that. And I had to educate myself on it before I even really started to grasp the extent of what happened to me. And I'm coming from a place where it was like horribly abusive. But, when I was in it and, the immediate years following, I had a very real trauma bond. And I was very much still in my mind, like excusing it, defending it, all of those types of things until I've learned a lot more. And so I don't know if that could potentially be where she is at. But I would absolutely love to interview JoJo. I've thought about reaching out to her. Let me know if you think that I should, and I will. I have no idea if she'll respond to me at all, but I think it would be great to have a sit down with her and really kind of understand what's going through her mind with all of her everything. Now, there's been another member of the Ballinger family who has finally spoken out, and although they've agreed with JoJo on this lies narrative, because what the else is the Ballinger family going to do except call everything lies? But they have at least agreed on one point, that Trent Ballinger is a menace to society. Allegedly. On October 2nd, 2023, the YouTube channel The Ballinger Family posted a family vlog video titled "Hollywood, Here I Come." Now, the video itself is fairly standard, like rather benign vlog content created by Colleen's brother Chris and his wife Jessica, focusing on a family trip to LA to celebrate none other than Jojo Siwa herself.
Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to a very special party for our friend Jojo.
Now, I didn't really talk in our docuseries about the Ballinger family, since that's a bit of another rabbit hole entirely. But Chris and Jessica have been running this channel for so long that some older videos feature Joshua David Evans. With over 2 million subscribers, the Ballinger family is a brand unto itself that exists independently of sister Colleen and has gone, mostly unscathed throughout this reckoning the public has taken with the Ballinger brand. What makes this interesting is that for the first time since June, someone, and I think we can assume it's Jessica based on the typing style, has decided to speak out in defense of Colleen in the comment of this video. One commenter wrote, quote, "Yikes, Jojo, I just can't support this behavior of being surrounded by people who are problematic. Makes me sad." To which the Ballingers responded, "It is sad to me how caught up people get in online gossip. Jojo is a lovely person. She has a huge heart, a dedication to bringing joy to others, and an absolutely brilliant mind. We have entered into a new sad era where it is more profitable to complain about and destroy other humans than to lift them up. The best quote I've heard about this experience is, if you have a problem with me, call me. If you don't have my number, then you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me." Okay, listen, I've seen that quote. I can't remember who that quote is from, but I've seen people use that, and I'm sorry. It's one of those platitudes, and they have a beautiful sunset background, and it's some quote that's life is for living, and it's it sounds deep, but it's not really saying shit, right? And so when I think about that quote, if you have a problem with me, call me. If you don't have my number, then you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. That literally can't apply to all things in this world, right? I have a problem with the way some politicians do shit. I don't have their phone number, so does that mean I'm not allowed to have a problem with them? I have a problem with, someone who murders someone and goes on trial for it. I have a problem with that. Does that mean I'm not allowed to have a problem because I don't have their phone number? It's such a weird take to me to use that type of quote. You can have problems with people that you don't have their phone numbers. That's called advocacy most of the time. If it were that way where you had to be personally connected to someone and have their contacts, otherwise you can't say shit about what they do. Like, can you imagine? People would be like, well, okay, well, I'm not giving my phone number to nobody, and then I'm just going to around and they're going to find out because they can't, it's just, I don't know. Anyways, let me finish the quote. Instead of being concerned about all the people supporting JoJo, perhaps consider that they know her on a human level rather than parasocial options. I do really encourage you to look at your engagement with gossip culture with the same scrutiny, though. It is likely having a more negative impact on you than you seem to realize. And it's like, I see angles where I think that comment was maybe trying to go, but at the same time, you're also criticizing someone who's simply stated that they have boundaries for the type of influencer that they follow. And like, this person left a comment saying, I have a problem if someone surrounds themselves with people they consider to be problematic. So for that viewer, that is them setting a boundary on who they do and don't want to support with, watching their content. And I don't think there's a problem with that. I think actually viewers, people in general, all of us, me included, should probably set some more boundaries with the type of content and people that we follow on social media. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But at the same time, we also have to be careful, I think, of judging someone, in this instance, JoJo, as a person based on the other people around them. JoJo was like birthed into the entertainment industry. I can't even tell you, with my experience in the entertainment industry, and as a musician, people around you in this business are just so shady all the time. Like, almost everybody is shady. It's really difficult to find like true, genuine people to surround yourself with. And sometimes you have to work with people that are just kind of crappy. But again, I completely understand why someone would have a problem. So to recap all of that, the Ballingers defend JoJo, then decry what people are saying about her as gossip culture. Later on, Jessica writes to them saying, quote, I responded to someone who was making an accusation about Colleen, saying that I haven't seen proof of their accusation. They'll likely screenshot my response, or someone will. They'll make a clickbait gossip video about me and probably make up a ton of things that they believe I think without any actual info from me. They will get a ton of views and make claims about my reputation. They will start a mob of people who come here and to all of our socials attacking us. Then they will attack anyone who supports us and encourage more people to attack us. That's the mob mentality. It's happening and happening ferociously, and people are profiting from it and destroying good people in the process. I wonder what good people she's talking about. Colleen? Like, is that your definition of good people? I don't know. It's kind of sus. But, to be fair, Jessica, I'm not here to attack you, as you call it. I don't know much about you beyond your relations to Colleen, and I have no interest in watching your family vlog channel and the potential exploitation of children for profit if I can help it. Allegedly. But we know you were in the Weenies group chat. Yeah, that's a thing. And that's weird, dude. And what's really interesting is that in response to either a hidden or deleted comment seemingly about Trent Ballinger, Jessica, you came out of the blue with this, quote, I absolutely support anyone with incriminating info to bring it to authorities. There is personal nuance as to his level of developmental delay, which he has always kept private, but it is much more than is known publicly, and I feel awful for sharing even that. But he's not someone that I have had contact with or will have my kids have contact with since learning about his behavior several months ago. We also discussed with the kids at their varying levels of understanding and asked if they ever experienced similar with him, which they had not. So yes, I think anyone with evidence of any crimes should, of course, bring it to authorities and be investigated appropriately. I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt my scholastic reading here with a question for Jessica. Did you keep this same energy for Colleen? If we have evidence of Colleen sending nude pics of Trish to John, and Adam saying that she also sent them to him as a minor, and Colleen at least confirming some of this with Trish, then one word, yes or no, do you think authorities should investigate Colleen? Okay, yeah, let's continue. Quote, I personally do not have that evidence, but from what has been shared, I can still use an abundance of personal caution with my kids and make choices accordingly. I am sad for Ollie, who has always been a sweet, genuine person who shouldn't have had that emotional burden at that age. I am wondering, have you reached out to Ollie if you are sad for him and posting a comment about it randomly on another person's comment on your family vlog about going to Hollywood? I just, there is healing that could be provided to these people who were so profoundly affected by Colleen, by Trent, by the family. If someone, just reached out and said something, just a thought. Now, this is the first time since the Colleen controversy began that anybody still actively associated with Colleen Ballinger has directly named any of the victims in the story. Now, as a reminder, the Ollie being referred to here is Oliver, a remarkable young man that I've been speaking to privately and publicly for the duration of my research on this project, who has alleged with a massive amount of evidence that Colleen's older brother Trent would DM him sexually inappropriate messages over Twitter for months when he was only 13 years old. Yeah, Oliver's been through a lot and is so incredibly strong. It's just, Oliver is a remarkable person. I can tell you that for a fact. Since then, more information has leaked about inappropriate messages that Trent has shared with other underage and sometimes of-age fans of Colleen, as well as the revelation that Trent would spend more time on Colleen's fan chats via Tiny Chat than any member of the family. Think about that. Now, for the record, all of those fans were underage at the time, and despite John Silvestri's questionable story, there is photographic proof that even he spent a decent amount of time in person with Trent both before and after he was of age. And now Oliver's story is quite disturbing, and it's one that we were looking to share more in depth before Johnny did a massive belly flop in the Suspool and we had to mop up his bullshit for a solid month. I actually conducted an interview with Oliver that we never got to air because of John's mess, which sucks. Even my segment discussing Trent in my interview with Joshua had to be cut because we didn't have time to fully investigate Trent the way we needed to before presenting any of that and all of the secrecy that's been surrounding him. So again, thanks for that, John boy. Regardless, comments like these from Jessica are illuminating, however, on why Oliver's story needs to be told and will hopefully one day be told in full. Because if what Jessica is saying here is accurate, Trent's actions are so disturbing that even Colleen's biggest supporters are backing away from him. Let me repeat part of what Jessica said. She will not allow her kids around Trent Ballinger. Why? Tell us more. And Jessica, if you believe or know Trent to be dangerous, what are you going to do about it to protect other kids aside from your own? So we're at a point where Jojo is speaking out. The Ballinger family is speaking out. Joshua spoke out with me. Slowly but surely, everybody in this universe is beginning to address the red lipstick elephant in the room in some way, which also includes Kory DeSoto. In case you missed Adam McIntyre's very intense video on the subject, Kory DeSoto is back in thirst trap form. On August 30th, 2023, Kory DeSoto returned to Instagram with this. After months away from the internet, Kory the toilet cleaner DeSoto has returned to Instagram, and it was initially with a context-free thirst trap showing off a set of muscles he did not have before. Is it the gym or is it protein powder? You go, bro-tato chip. Now, when Adam began to stream about this and reminded his audience that Kory also had his own group chats filled with minors known as Kory's clit, 'cause that's the thing.
And also, the person who sent me the voice note who was a part of Kory's clit said that the people in Kory's clit then turned against that person and were going to say this. Bonk. Bonk, bonk. Kory, you have not thought... Oh, has he already deleted it? Kory, you have not thought about the fact that I have some of the fucking Kory's clit members coming to me, you dipshit.
Now, Kory allegedly tried posting a set of receipts to his Instagram story that proved Adam was lying, with one of the members tweeting back in June that none of the members were underage, and that when Adam posted that weird voice memo Kory sent, he was allegedly sending it to adults, not minors. No, he's not part of the Suspool. No. Not that that makes it much better.
Hey everyone, it's Kory. I just wanted to record a voice memo because I have like a lot to say. But first of all, I just want to say that like I love all of you. Like you all honestly mean so much to me.
Oh my god.
You have no idea. I know that it sounds weird because I'm a full-grown adult and some of you are younger.
Oh my god.
And blah blah blah.
Oh my god.
Like I honestly think of all of you like as my best friends. Like I don't have friends.
Oh,
and
God.
I'm a loner and I'm a loser. Like my only friend is Colleen.
Telling you, the Suspool be sussin'. It didn't take long for the internet to do its thing and realize, oh wait, person saying that they were an adult was only 17 when Kory sent that note. Whoopsie daisy, sir, toilet brush to the Suspool with you. Kory quietly deleted that little post and then added a caption to his thirst trap that says, quote, "Gym really helped me with my mental health. I would run to the gym every time anxiety, depression, and ending life thoughts got to me." You know, that is great, Kory, and I'm really glad you found a positive way to help with all of that. It's important. It is important. Whether you like the guy or not, it's important. You know what also is important, though? You maybe addressing some of these rather intense allegations against you instead of just deleting your Twitter and running. But, you know, protein powder. Anyways, on September 18th, Kory posted this to Instagram.
Hi, I'm Kory DeSoto, and I'm playing Frankie the Fox. Come find out what the fox says.
Yeah.
Game begin. Game over.
Okay, one more thing. I wanted to talk for just a little bit in response to some of you messaging asking me where part 5 of the Colleen series is. Now, rest assured, I was tentatively considering doing a part 5 in the future that tackles many of the topics that we didn't get around to in the last 4 parts, as well as any new and major developments that pop up in the coming months. And of course, if Colleen ever responded to me about interviewing her, then that would be the thing that we do. But I'm gonna be real with y'all. At this point in time, I need a break from Colleen. Unless she wants to do an interview. My team and I, again, we're only 3 people here, for the documentaries, started preliminary research for part 1 on June 7th, just one day after I put out the Illuminati documentary, which itself took nearly 3 weeks to pull together. When we started researching Colleen, we had no idea just what we were in store for between over a dozen initial hours of video that were released by Adam McIntyre, Johnny Silvestri, and other creators in the first week, and then hundreds upon thousands of tweets and receipts, hundreds of Colleen videos to sift through, not to mention what inevitably became nearly 24 hours of interviews that I conducted directly with Adam, John, Joshua, Becky, Oliver, Soph, Bella, Alex, and the anonymous people that I also spoke with. At 24 hours worth of interview recordings. This is a lot. That was on top of the pages upon pages of private written correspondence with the victims and people familiar with the story. I had many private phone calls with many of those involved. And let me tell you, having to scrap a mostly finished documentary that got completely derailed because of the huge level of deception that we weren't anticipating from you-know-who, that changed the course of a lot of things. That's why stuff took quite a bit longer. The truth is, like, my team and I just need a break from Colleen. Like, it was exhausting and it clogged my pores, okay? We don't allow that in this house. I talk a lot about my team and they are incredible. Those docs don't happen to that level without them, but all of that ish that I just listed is what I did. Like, my team was busy with so many other aspects and they would jump in as needed, but that's what was on Auntie Swoop's personal workload. They're like, Auntie Swoop needs a moment, okay? Listen, friends. I mean, I was so deep in the Colleen trenches. Like, did y'all see that I'm listed on a Colleen lore iceberg now? Like, that's a thing. I don't even fully know what being in this iceberg means, but I'm assuming it's an honor to be there, hopefully. You know, I just, for right now, want to talk about some other stories for a while and see what other dreadful things are happening in the world that, like Ruby Frankie. Holy have you all seen? I just posted a deep dive on my main channel about Ruby Frankie and all of that's been going on. I'll link that down below because wow. Anyways, it has been an absolute honor and pleasure getting to know Adam, Becky, Oliver, Soph, Bella, Alex, Ella, Joshua, as well as everybody else that I've spoken to, and y'all's response to the nearly 12 hours of documentary. That is a 12-hour series. Your response has been mind-blowing, so thank you so much. Again, your support of the work has been such a blessing, and there is lots more in the works for my main channel. And I look forward to getting back to a regular schedule over there as well. As for the new channel here, let's just have some fun. Again, I'm still working out the exact format here. I don't have a set schedule. I don't even have an outro planned. I haven't written anything. I don't know what I'm saying at the end of this. So thanks for coming along for the ride. Make sure to subscribe to this new channel and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Tell your friends and stay tuned to see who's next up in the Suspool. Bye.